Alright. Welcome to yet another video. In this one, we are gonna continue down. We're gonna take a break from doing the counter series. I got some pretty good feedback on the last video, so I will continue that. But right now, what we're gonna talk about is Immortal Portraits. We did a video a couple weeks ago when Portraits and Stardust came out, but now we're gonna have a look at more specifically, more in depth, how to actually level up and how to level up efficiently. Because you should not just spend your Stardust willy-nilly. You need to think about it, and I made a table, a chart to sort of give you the overview of how does it work across different types of Immortals, and at what level range, thresholds, how to upgrade it the most efficiently. Gain the most combat strength per Stardust as you kind of grind this resource out. So that is what we're gonna talk about today. Stardust was introduced with the patch 2.6.3. You use it. This is just a real quick 101, right? Use it to upgrade the Immortal Portraits. You find that on the Immortal site. Click Immortals, click on in the top left corner there's the portrait screen, and you jump in there and you can begin upgrading your Immortals. As you upgrade them, they gain power, they gain different kinds of boosts. That's the real quick one, and what we will look at today, as I said, is how you should upgrade, what level to stop. If you want to know more about how to obtain Stardust, how to grind this out, there's a link for another video we did about that. I'm not going to go into depth on that, but basically you can get it for free a couple different places, and you can buy it daily as a very good source. That leads us to this week's weekly reminder. Spend wisely. You need all the Stardust you can get, and you will most likely be purchasing at least the daily bundle every single day, and quite possibly a bit of other stuff as well, right? You're gonna need them Triss skills and stuff like that. So what you want to do is spend efficiently, get the most value in Infinity Kingdom for every dollar you spend. You do that with Huawei, you do that with their pay and save campaign. It's the same as the old campaign. It got a new name and a slightly new skin. I'm not really sure why, because you still do the same thing. You spend $1, you earn a flower, you accumulate flowers, redeem them for coupons, and you get up to 20% back on your purchases. It's great, and it really saves a lot in the long run. All you gotta do is go ahead and jump onto the AppGallery Discord server. In there you'll find guides and mods and people to help you out. You'll find a giveaway channel that has been slightly dead as of late. A couple of you have been asking me, what's going on there, and I talked to them and they will revive it shortly. So go ahead and jump on in and check out the new campaigns coming in there. It's the new sort of mini games. It's a giveaway channel, so it's free mini games and you just earn some free stuff. There's also obviously guides as to how to download AppGallery app, install Infinity Kingdom, and then get the spend and save campaign discounts. There's also a 50% back for discount, one-time purchase discount for old friends coming back, I think they called it. So if you are a returning player who for some reason is still watching videos, or an old player still watching videos, maybe you are a returning player, that would make sense for you to watch videos, then you can go ahead and just use that for one of your major investments. Anyway, that is the weekly's Huawei. Let's get on back to leveling Immortal Portraits. Alright, so to the Immortal Portrait upgrades, the levels, the boosts. As you have most likely and almost certainly seen by now, every single type of Immortals, tanks, supports, attack, ranged, magic, they all have different stats, or at least different kind of a different schematic for when to upgrade what stat, but it the stats themselves also do differ based on type, so they kind of fit. You know, you get a resilience rating and damage reduction and stuff like that with and physical defense on a tank. You get magical attack on a mage. You get crit rate. You get magical damage. You know, on attack you get physical attack. You get accuracy. You get physical damage. Right. So they vary in what stats are offered, what boosts are offered, obviously based on what kind of type it is. It's pretty basic. It's just something to remember. What is probably not as much common knowledge is the fact that, I don't know if you've noticed, but the actual values of how much of a stat increase you're getting is also different. That is also different based on the type of immortal it is. Tanks and mages and attack and ranged, they don't support. They don't all get the same, let's say 40 stat increase on the first level. Some get more, some get less, some get a lot less. So do check that out and bear that in mind as you upgrade through and pick out your most important immortal, because that is a pretty major thing. Before we jump into the big table, I'm just going to run by them one by one. Tanks get physical attack, magical defense, physical defense. You also get a damage reduction bonus at the 20th level. That is very nice, especially if you are up against, cleave builds where the entire cleave damage is scaled off of the damage received by the tank, stuff like that. It's great. It makes a tank more tanky. That's perfect. You also get resilience rate, which it's fine, but at this point you get so much from a dragon talent tree that it's not really a big deal. Kind of same thing with attack immortals. You get physical defense, magical defense, physical attack. So same stats as before, just a different schematic. You begin with defense and end with attack. It matters in terms of getting, the third or the fifth, whatever count of physical attack. It means that you get physical attack on the third upgrade and the sixth level, etc. Whereas the tank would get it on the first. So they kind of hit the best stat down there. At 10th level, you get 5% accuracy rate. That's awesome. Accuracy is it's a very funny stat in the way that as long as you need it, as long as you're not capped on accuracy, it is the best stat for a physical damage dealer. But as soon as you get even close or hit the hit cap, so you never miss an attack, then accuracy becomes completely useless, right? So there's no point in overcapping it, and because we are getting a lot of this in the dragon talent tree, 5% accuracy is not very good, to be honest. It does make a difference against some dodge holy builds, so do note that. Physical damage, obviously an amazing stat, and getting 5% physical damage, that is as much as we get from a max level, a level 5 claw in our talent tree, dragon talent tree. That is a huge upgrade. And really something that you can feel making a difference. For ranged, same stats: physical defense, magical defense, physical attack. Also the same schematic or layout or progression table as the attack, because again, physical attack is your main stat, right? It's the one you want, so they put it in third. That makes it slightly harder to get high levels on. Accuracy, physical damage, again, same principle applies as to attack. For the magical portraits, magical immortals, you get physical damage, magical defense, and magical attack. So, again, it's the same as attack and ranged, but we get magical attack instead of physical attack. Same structure. You get a third, sixth, ninth, etc. You get crit rate, and you get magical damage. So crit rate at level 10, that is very good, because unlike accuracy, crit is not something that we are building up in our dragon talent tree. that means that getting 5% of it is very, very, very good. Mages deal burst damage, and if you can secure a critical hit on high troop counts, the damage spikes. You'll be dealing 2 to 3 times as much damage on a critical hit, so getting 5% more chance at that critical hit, or at least a 5% bonus to your crit rating, sorry. Not a 5% crit chance, 5% bonus to crit rating. It's an important distinction there. But again, it is a huge upgrade and a very, very good one. It is by far the best 10th level upgrade, so bear that in mind. Magical damage at level 20, obviously amazing. Raw damage output, it's awesome, and again, it's 5%, so it's a full claw. For the support modules, we gain physical attack, physical defense, and magical defense. So all the defensive stats and physical attack. The physical attack doesn't really make a difference, but getting some defense stats on your supporter modules is great. You get dodge rate at level 10, 5% dodge. It's fine. In holy wars, fighting holy on holy, or just running a holy Theo, dodge rate is great because you have enough dodge rating and reduction to enemy accuracy that you can actually make some very nice dodge plays. In that case, this 5% dodge rating will make a difference on your Theo. But for many other support modules in setups that doesn't really rely on mango dodge from unique artifacts and misleading after image combos, you're probably not going to have enough dodge rating to ever dodge a physical attack from anyone with even near decent dragon talents. So a pretty good start for Theo, pretty terrible for everybody else, in my opinion. Damage resistance bonus at level 20. Obviously, it is great. That's just reduced damage taken. It's awesome, same as the tanks. Keeping your support mortals, at least your healers, on high troop counts does increase their healing. So it's not like keeping a Cyrus or a Quinn on high troop count does absolutely nothing for you, because they are just buff machines. But keeping Xeno or Theo high does truly make a difference. Alright, so let's have a look at the table here. I talked about it before because I made a table for you to show you a couple different things. First of all, we can obviously see, levels 1 through, I have included levels 1 through 21 because, more on that later, but you're not going to want to get higher than that to begin with. Stardust, obviously, that is the cost of each level. As you can see, it increases quite rapidly, continuously at least, and stacking up quite quickly. Gold cost, it's there. Obviously, it's a lot of gold in the end, but at this stage, with the dragon costs that we're used to, the gold is not really going to be an obstacle for you. The Stardust is going to be the hard thing to get here. Gold can be farmed quite easily at this stage. We are beginning to easily farm level 43 Infernal Camps, at least on my server with some proper builds. You can do that at pretty low power levels, so gold is not really an issue anymore. Stardust, however, that is a big issue. What we can also see here, and the thing that I mentioned earlier, is that not all Immortal types are the same. It's not just the stats themselves, the 10th level and the 20th boosts that are different. The upgrade pattern is also different. As I said, the tanks get physical defense on 3 because that makes it harder to get that extra 1 point in physical defense. You'll have to go level 3 and then 6 and then 9, whereas if that was 1, you could do 1, 4, and 7 instead. You end up on a 7 instead of a 9 with the same boost, right? This would be great. But that is also, of course, why they have made it so that the best stats are 3rd level. Physical defense tanks, physical attack, physical attack ranged, magical attack mages, magic defense support. I believe magical defense, physical defense on supports. Not really sure why one would be better than the other, but as you can see, you are getting a lot more magical defense. For some reason, we are getting quite a lot of magical protection from these portraits, and not as much from physical. That leads me to think that that thing we've been talking about with magical mages making a huge comeback and huge splash back in Infinity Kingdom, that might not hold water. At least this is something that counters it. Does it just balance it out, or does it actually counter it to the point where Himiko Earths go back to hybrid? I don't know. We haven't seen that yet. We'll see that when people get higher levels on begin to max out their portraits. That's a while down the line at this stage, but it is kind of fun to see and interesting to note that magical defense is for some reason being buffed more. That is the case across the board, while it is not always as much as it is for the support. Support, you get 36.7 physical defense on level 2. You get 73.3 magical defense. It's quite a lot more. Comparatively, mages get just 26.7 physical defense and they get 73.3 magical defense. That's 3 times. It is not quite as much. It's doubled on ranged, and it's less than that. It's only a slight difference on attack immortals, and actually the reversed on tanks. On tanks, you get more physical defense, but not as much. You still get proportionally a lot more magical defense from these portraits. But that is just one side note. The other thing you should notice is that level 1 doesn't just increase your stat by 40. It also differs across all of the types. You get 40 on tanks. You get 40 physical attack. On attack immortals, you get 56.7 physical defense. On ranged, you get 33.3 physical defense. Mage is 26.7 physical defense. So mages are weak to physical damage. Kind of fits the law, right? Ranged also more weak to physical defense than attack immortals are. It kind of makes sense when you think about it, and thematically this is pretty awesome, I think. Because this is sort of expanding on the concept of different immortals have different roles. Before, with dragon talents and the other things we've had, technology boosts, etc., we're kind of getting the same upgrades across the board, right? While now we are expanding on the thematic role of every immortal. I kind of like that personally. It's nice, but really what I just want to pinpoint here is that some people think it is kind of the same value to upgrade, let's say, a ranged or an attack immortal. I can make one upgrade now, so I'll do this one. Do watch out for the stats. While it's not massive and probably not the most definitive thing in choosing what immortals to upgrade, you should make note that different levels on different type of immortals give different stat values, both the stat themselves but also the actual value gained. Moving on, I think I made that point because level 20 you upgrade the portrait bonuses, the percentage bonus, which is the main reward. It's the end of the schematic, the upgrade pattern. It does come again, but it is the main reward. This is what is the biggest deal here. 5% physical damage, 5% magical damage. It's just massive. Um, one more thing that you should kind of keep in mind here is that as you watch this table and sort of go down the line of what upgrades am I getting, yes, it is the same schematic every third level. You get the same kind of increases. The actual values do not, increase. So level 14, you get physical. You're back to getting physical attack. It starts over, right? But you're still only getting 40 of it on your tank. That's still the same upgrade, the same stat upgrade as level 1. It's of course on top of it, so it's 40 additional to all the other stuff you've accumulated, but it is costing you 40 Stardust to get 40 physical attack, whereas the first 40 physical attack you got cost you 1 Stardust. And that is kind of important, and if you hadn't thought about that, then I don't know what you've been doing, but now I've kind of painted the picture as clearly as I can, because it is pretty important to make note of. It gets a lot more expensive, and this is also why I believe that level 20 is the most efficient. The whole schematic starts over, as you can see here, at 21. That means that it goes through kind of the same upgrade pattern again, but at obviously much higher Stardust costs. So what you are left with is a level 21 upgrade, for instance, which nets you the same 56.7 physical attack on your Alexander for the price of 85 Stardust, whereas the exact same 56.7 physical attack for level 4, that's just 7 Stardust. For level 1, it's just 1, and that is just a point that I want to reiterate here. So that leads us to what should you actually be doing. Finally, we are here. I have 3 points on this. Firstly, different upgrade paces. Don't do it. Some players, for some reason, likes to spread out their upgrades, maybe across all 3 marches. Means you have 4, 8, 12 immortals. You all want to upgrade at the same time. If you're trying to upgrade the star level, the portrait level of 12 immortals at the same time, you're never getting anywhere. You're gonna be stuck on some of those ridiculous levels for a while. For instance, you're gonna be stuck at level 9 for quite a bit, because it costs you 21 Stardust to get there. Then it costs you 24 to reach level 10, but you keep spending 21 across a ton of immortals, getting minor stat upgrades, instead of spending just 24 on a single immortal and get level 10, which is a much better upgrade, at least for most of them. What I'm saying here, however, isn't that you should only upgrade 1 immortal, because that is my second point. Low level investments. Take advantage of the very low costs at the lower levels. If you see this and bear the schematic in mind, you can either choose, say, okay, I'm really starved for Stardust, so I'm gonna stay at level 3 on all of my immortals, or at least my important immortals, because I do want that main stat upgrade. It's a very nice upgrade, and it only costs you 8 Stardust to upgrade all the 3 first levels. It's very, very cheap for some very good stat upgrades. You can also do what I'm doing and say, I'm not that starved on Stardust, I'll get my level 20 on the important immortals pretty quickly, so I'll stop at level 6 across all of my immortals, at least all of the important ones that I'm using for combat. That nets you, and it's of course level 6, because that is where you get your second iteration of the main attribute. That is what I'm doing. You can choose to stay on 3 or 4 or whatever you feel is most valuable. I do see a point in staying on 4, just to mention that, because you are getting some physical defense across some of your important immortals, and in a physical damage meta, that physical defense can go a long way. Getting the 5th level is really inefficient because it's magical defense, and that means that I'd either stay 3, 4 or 6. Personally, I prefer 6 just because that main stat is really nice. Hope that made sense. Leads me to my third point. Focus on your key immortals. Do these cheap upgrades. Maybe start with level 3 across the board. Get your main immortal in your main march. Let's say you're running hybrid or an earth version, like I am. Alexander is your king, so upgrade him to level 20 as quickly as you can, because you need that 5% damage boost. It is just incredibly powerful. So maybe even start at level 3 across the board, get your main immortal to level 20, get the rest of your immortals to level 6. That is actually how I ended up doing. But I am going to stay at level 6 across the board for quite a while. I'm getting Himiko, Mango, and Kublai Khan at least to level 20 before I begin upgrading other people. Possibly Charles, but I am not sure I'm gonna get him that high up to begin with. I am kind of moving into holy, but that is another talk. The point here is that you want to upgrade to level 20 on your main immortals and just keep the others at one of those low levels where it is sufficient for. That's it. That's what I had for you. I hope that this clarified things for those of you who've been asking me, what does the upgrades cost, or how should I upgrade? Should I max 1? Should I do across the board? When should I stop upgrading my immortals? I think we've covered that pretty thoroughly at this point. So thank you for staying with me. This turned out to be quite a bit longer than I thought. But thank you for watching, and see you on the next one. As always, please do subscribe to the channel. I consistently release new content here on the IK channel and on the official IK Wiki website. Links are in the description. On these channels you can find guides from everything in IK, from events to talents, passives, finished builds, and game mechanics. With that, I'm gonna leave you, and as always, thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.